Congratulations everyone for being shortlisted for the next round of Troubleshoot contest. I am Taranjay Singh, an experienced technologist with Sapient. I work with Kepler Lab, which is the experience research function for Sapient India, and today I'll share my thoughts around how you can complete your submission on time. So for each of your entries, you have to submit a working prototype. So let's start with thinking around how to make a prototype. So prototypes are iterative, so you don't create the full and final product in one go. You take it module by module, piece by piece, functionality by functionality, and in each iteration you bring them together to create a functional system. So what we can do is, for a 7-day time frame, you can split it into 3 iterations of 2 days each and bring the system together in 3 iterations, and on the 7th day you can integrate the entire thing and make it work. So for this contest, you can submit your prototype in 2 stages. The first one is the user experience prototype, which should ideally contain a fully functional, or not even a fully functional, user journey from a point A to point B. In case of an ATM, it should start from where the system authenticates the person or his account to the final step of where he gets the cash along with a statement or basically an indication of balance in his account. For an in-flight system, it starts with basically any point that he can look for an assistant, or he can look for a content which is available on the CMS of the flight, and it can end at completion of that request. Any of one scenario you can take and create a user experience prototype. The second prototype is the functional prototype. So functional prototype should contain the complete functional aspect of the prototype system that you're trying to create. As a rule, what you can do is take it as a 20-80 rule. So you can try to include 20% of functionality that people use 80% of the time in the final functional prototype that you submit. So expectations from the final and functional prototype that you will submit are: first, show and tell. So if you're creating a solution for the ATM, you have to ensure that there is a separate simulator of an ATM that does all the authentication and also validates the wrong scenario where the person is not able to enter a valid PIN or is not able to authenticate itself. This again goes the same for the in-flight system. So in the in-flight system, you have to create a separate server which can be on a computer system, and if it doesn't solve your need, you can have an external hardware system that simulates the in-flight system, and the content should be on the in-flight system and not on your solution. So if you are making a mobile app, the content should be on the CMS, and a valid scenario would be to be able to change the CMS and that content being reflected to your solution, maybe a mobile app or any wearable. Second expectation is around usability and design. You have to think around your prototypes with a mindset of adaptability to existing solutions. So think of questions like, does it require a new layer of interface on top of existing system, or it can be easily embedded into existing system? Think about questions like, does the user easily follow your user journey, or can be a part of or look for a starting point for your user journey, or he has to struggle with figuring out the starting point? So these are the questions you should have in mind for usability and design. Let's step into how to create a prototype. The idea of prototype is not to create something which is agile or rigid. The idea of a prototype is to create something which is functional. So what you can do is you can keep things very simple. So instead of using circuits and PCBs, you can simply use breadboards, proto boards with jumper cables and microcontrollers. You can use Arduinos. You can connect them with your PCs instead of using a Raspberry Pi. You can directly use a Node.js or a Python application to create a web server or a WebSocket server, which can further interact with your solution. Right, so that is your simulator. And from the fabrication perspective, instead of going for 3D printing or using MDF laser cutting or whatever, you can simply use sunboards or thermocols, and there you have it. So we hope this is valuable and it helps you to complete your submission on time. We look forward to your amazing work. All the best.